Today I'm going to show you how I make quinoa in the Instant Pot. This is one of the staples I always, staple grains I often try to have in the fridge along with rice and potatoes and some kind of bean or lentil and sometimes some other grains. But quinoa is a great one. We can get the organic quinoa, Kirkland brand at Costco for a great price, so we tend to eat quite a lot of it. So the things we'll need are just quinoa and a measuring cup and an Instant Pot. Some people would also use a sieve and say you should rinse your quinoa, and I'm sure that does taste better, and I'm sure it's a great idea, but I don't do that because I'm a lazy cook and I have 4 people in our household that we're trying to keep ourselves fed with healthy whole plant foods, and I just need to cut corners wherever I can. So in terms of time savings, so my family is not very picky. They have just learned to enjoy whatever I make them, and we care more about having food in the fridge at all times. So I'm going to show you my very, very simple way of preparing this. So I just start by measuring out 2 cups of quinoa. This is the white kind. Sometimes I've bought the red and other ones before, but you know, this is available. It's a great price at Costco, so it's just what we do. So that's it, 2 cups. And I just pour this into the insert of my Instant Pot, and then I'm just gonna go get some warm water. Or hot water even. You can use cold as well, but I just like saving time. And if I use hot water, the Instant Pot comes to pressure a little bit faster. I'll be back with that. So I actually chose to put in 6 cups of water, which amounts to 3 cups of water for every cup of grain. We used to use closer to 4 cups of water for 2 cups of grain, so twice as much water as grain. And either is fine. You'll end up with more separated grains if you go with the less water, and you'll end up with a little more of like almost a doughy texture. I think I would call it closer to like what we think of as a rice congee if you go with more water. So you can experiment. Just figure out what you enjoy, and sometimes a variety is nice too. But I do not find that I'm not of the group that finds you need way less water with the Instant Pot. I actually find it's very, very similar to what I would do on the stovetop. The beauty of the Instant Pot is not so much the time savings and in terms of how long it takes to cook, or water savings. I don't find that at all. I love that it doesn't heat my home, and the biggest thing I love is this function. I'll show you. So I just put my grain in here with water. That's taken me, if I hadn't been chatting, about 30 seconds, okay? And then I'm gonna put the lid on, okay? It says right here, close. So once I put it on, I just turn it till I can't turn it anymore. Then I make sure the vent is turned to sealing, not venting, sealing, so that it can come to pressure. And then I hit pressure cook. I cook mine for 20 minutes. It's a lot longer than a lot of people do, but that's how we like it. You can experiment with what you like. So 20 minutes does it for me. And now the beauty is this. I just leave it. I leave it. I let it come to pressure. I let it cook. I let it pressure release naturally. And then it's ready to scoop it to my containers. There's never any boiling over. There's never any babysitting I have to do. Whereas if I make this on the stove top, I have to watch, and as soon as it comes to a boil, I need to turn it on low. Even then, often it'll stick to the bottom or it'll overflow. And then I have to be ready to go right when it's done. It's so much more time consuming and constrictive to our schedule. So I just absolutely love this. And if I need it to, it can even sit in the Instant Pot for hours after it finishes cooking if needed. I do find it gets a little gummier, and I try not to do that. I try to catch it within about 20, 30 minutes of it naturally releasing. But certainly sometimes I'm not able to do that. So we'll be back when you can see the beautiful, finished, fluffy quinoa that's perfectly cooked in the Instant Pot. All right, so my Instant Pot is showing that it is fully pressure released. And I know this because this thing is down. It is clicked down, and there's no resistance now to opening the lid. This particular Instant Pot also shows it. This is my newest one, I believe. And it shows it just with this little symbol. And then it's counted up 40 minutes past cookie time already. And that's definitely enough time for it to naturally pressure release. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this up. And I tend to, just a little trick for you, there's some water left here. I just dump that on a cutting board often. And then I just leave it to dry like that. It's usually clean because nothing, as long as you don't overfill the Instant Pot, it's just steam that accumulates there. So I have to just let this dry. If I've made potatoes, or beans, sometimes I have to wash that lid out a little better. But usually I just leave it to dry. And then I have my Pyrex containers here. I like to scoop this beautifully cooked quinoa into these containers, and then we let them cool and store them in the fridge so that my kids and my husband and I can just grab one of these and then either add it to another meal or just add some condiments. Like they like it just with hot sauce sometimes, and we'll just add condiments to it and eat it like that. So I'll just show you how I scoop that out. So I've already scooped one. I like to use these little scoops that come with the Instant Pot. At least that came with my Instant Pot. And I usually put about 2 good scoops like that in a container. I started with 2 cups dry, and I typically get 4 containers out of that. I split it into 4. It just seems to fill these well so that we can literally just take this out of the fridge once it's cold, stick it in the microwave, and eat straight from this bowl. We just are all about convenience. I'm a homeschooling mom of 2, and I also work. So we just, and we want to eat healthy because both my husband and I had health issues that we wanted to avoid getting worse. So that's one reason we're eating whole food plant-based and feeding our kids that way. So this just makes it really straightforward and simple for us. I hope this has been helpful. If you've found it helpful, please like and subscribe, and consider commenting below about other ways you like to keep it simple.